So Watcher came out. What can we learn from it? Like I always do, let me start off by saying I don't think filmmaking is this thing only some can do. I think of it like language. If you want to step up, if you want to participate, you want to inject yourself, that's on you, you know? It's about fluency. It's about a constant pursuit of gaining more fluency. That's what I think about storytelling. Let's go ahead and do the color grade. In case I do one, I might not because of reasons. Yeah, so Watcher. Watcher follows Micah Monroe's housewife character. She and her husband moved to Hungary from New York, and she's sort of just alone all day, stuck in this apartment, and she's getting paranoid because she sees a guy watching her in the next apartment over, and it freaks her out. She sees him in the square. Could he be stalking her? Could he be a killer? Yeah, there's that. Considering this movie came from Shudder, which I do have a subscription to, I'm not above that. I just wasn't expecting it to be as good as it was. I think it's the script. I'm a big believer in the script is the first indicator that your idea or your story is going to work or not. And so if you can get all the stuff ironed out, if you can get all the plot holes fixed, if you can get the script working, usually through workshop or notes or, just revision, if you can get it to a 10, your movie has the chance of getting to a 10. But if your script is a 2, good luck breaking that threshold with the rest of the film. It's just, it's tough. So the other part of this thing is this is 80% of the movie. And so they had to find somebody like Micah Monroe, who I know from the movie It Follows, which I really liked. I thought it was just sort of like at its moment, a fantastic horror movie. She can do this. She's one of those, they're not common, but if you can get an actor who can really deliver on, being the movie, use her when you can find her because she can do it. So, and all that praise aside, what can we learn from this other than get the script to work? I think it's in the camera again. I've been saying this a lot, but I think it's the psychology of the camera. And I think in the case of the fact that this is a psychological thriller, it's all about her point of view, her perspective. I think they made some really interesting choices. This is not normally the frame that I use. I use a completely different frame, but whether unconsciously or consciously, you can tell I usually keep the camera, very close to me, within arm's length, and that's on purpose. That's to sort of give you the unconscious feeling of, we're sitting across from each other. We're at the coffee table, we're on couches, that kind of thing. This camera is very far away. This camera is minimum 5 feet away, probably 6 or 7 feet away. And I think you can tell, even if you can't put your finger on it, I think you can tell that the camera's physically far away. And so that's what I think this movie does a lot is the psychology of being watched. Because you sort of intuitively know the camera's far away, the camera all of a sudden becomes its own thing. It becomes a voyeur. It becomes looking through windows, looking down a long hallway, looking down the platform of a train station. That's the look you get when you move the camera back this far. And so her experience of being watched and followed is literally followed by the camera, literally watching and following her at a distance, to great effect, honestly. I think it's very satisfying. They do some wide angles, and that's an interesting choice too, because wide angles, again, the way I use wide angles is to bring the camera close so it feels like I can reach out and touch you, but you can also use it and make the character really small in the space and make them look insignificant. The movie did this a little bit, but they did a weird thing where they put her in a weird corner of the wide angle frame, so it looks like she's sort of trapped in this little corner in an otherwise big world. Interesting camera choice too, but most of the time it's this. Most of the time it's, right down the barrel, right in the middle of the frame, which is not normal. And it's this sense of focus on her, but also a sense of disorientation. Everything behind her is blurred out. You can't really see what she's looking at, nor can she, because again, she's in a sort of state of confusion and mistrust. And it's really about, really delivering on that, both with everything going on around her, but also the fact that this is where the story is being told. And she, again, is one of those actresses or actors that can really, it's all in the eyes. It's a good thing in comedies, for instance, to pull wide so you can see body language. But when you're doing something nuanced, when you're doing something that really exists in the mind of in the character in the way that she's so paranoid, that's when you get up close. That's when you really need to see all the little sort of micro facial things that Micah Monroe, for instance, I consider to be quite good at. So, it's a way to do it. I just think it's a pretty well thought out thing. They had a good story, they had a good script. They found a good actor that could deliver on this. And then the last thing, if it's going to be a story about watching somebody from a distance, put the camera at a distance and make it that visceral experience, because all of a sudden we know she's being watched too. And I think that's what this movie does so well. Is there was never a moment in this movie where it didn't feel like she had to look over her shoulder. She just didn't seem safe, and that's what you get. So that's where I'm at. I'm super uncomfortable in this framing, if I'm being honest. Everything seems wrong. I just want to reach out and touch the camera, and I'm gonna knock my desk over if I do. So what do you think? Did you see Watcher? What do you think of Watcher? What do you think of Michael Monroe? But more importantly, how important is the camera into the story? And is camera placement anything you think about? And are you going to notice it now that I've brought it up? Is it going to be one of those things where you see a Ford Focus once, now you see 100 Ford Focuses? Let me know.